special day for this guy. Yeah, my dad turned 70 today on this road trip, so quite a milestone.
How the hell did I ever get here?
George's birthday meal.
Yep. What do we got, Dad?
Seafood platter, scallop, shrimp, fish.
Could we have found a relative of yours, Sam, perhaps?
It's possible.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
We made it to the balancing rock. We earned the views. 19 people in the dog here, that's it.
Huge beach and not a lot of people.
There's loons here, so you know you're in the wilderness in Canada when you hear the loon, and they have a very distinctive sound.
We nearly saw a bear. My dad and George, who were ahead on the trail, spotted a bear running across the trail. Hello, hello. So we are kicking off the third part of our trip here across Nova Scotia. Now focusing on the Annapolis Valley. So we're going to have 3 full days of exploration. We're starting out in Annapolis Royal. Beautiful place.
This is a beautiful historic town. It actually reminded us so much of Niagara-on-the-Lake, but less touristy. The architecture and the homes are phenomenal. As we were driving by, your dad was like, pull out the camera, we gotta film
Gotta film this, take the picture.
And it wasn't just like one, it was like one after the other. And right now we are checking out Fort Anne.
Yes, we
It's
are.
a Parks Canada National Historic Site.
Right on the water.
Right on the water. And we just arrived, so we're gonna do a tour and show you guys what it's all about.
Okay, so right now we're down at the Queen's Wharf here at Fort Anne, and this is where everything from construction supplies, weapons, food, livestock, all those sort of things would have arrived when they were first setting up and settling this area. So yeah, it's really cool. As you can see right now, it is low tide. So the whole beach is exposed, like you can see the rocks. And yeah, this body of water actually connects with the Bay of Fundy, but the Bay of Fundy is just behind those mountains you see behind me. So we are going to show you the Bay of Fundy when we take the ferry back to New Brunswick. So these red chairs are pretty iconic. You can find them in national and provincial parks across Canada, wherever there's a nice lookout point.
Aren't these the Adirondack chairs they called?
Yeah, Adirondack chairs, Muskoka chairs, there
Yeah.
seems to be many names for them.
In the United States, they call them Adirondack chairs from the Adirondack Mountains. And here in Canada, they call them Muskoka chairs from Muskoka, north of Toronto, where they have these areas of cottages and lakes and stuff like that. Huh?
Yeah.
And what they do sometimes is they make giant chairs,
Yeah.
and you sit up on them. You could put 3 or 4 people in the chair. Eh?
Yeah.
So right now we're visiting Charles Fort, and the history of this place is so impressive that I'm going to read what is here on this monument. A group of about 70 Scottish settlers began a colony here in 1629, 8 years after King James I granted Nova Scotia to Sir William Alexander. Led by Alexander's son, the Scots built a small fort, the remains of which lie beneath Fort Anne. Despite many deaths during the first winter, the surviving colonists thrived on agriculture, fishing, and trade with the Micmac. Most returned to Great Britain in 1632 after France reacquired the region by treaty. Although the colonization attempt was short-lived, the province of Nova Scotia owes its name, flag, and coat of arms to this early Scottish settlement. So almost 400 years of history at this site. Very impressive.
Up and down the stairs we go, boys.
Up the fortification.
Up the fortifications. Marching in, marching up. Alrighty.
So right now we're standing next to Fort Anne, which is actually a Vauban fort that dates back to the 17th century. And what's fascinating about it is that it's low to the ground. It has a special type of like almost bunker type defense.
Yeah.
And we're really impressed by it so far.
And there's a depression all the way around it.
Yeah.
Big depression.
With these big walls of dirt.
Maybe at one time it was a moat, you know?
Yeah.
And anyone trying to get up this hill would have really struggled. I mean, we took the stairs to get up here, but you can just see how strategic it was. Its function was as a military defense building.
With those huge trenches around it, any invading enemy would have to climb up, and from up here it was easy to
Yeah, pick 'em
Exactly. And anyone coming from the Annapolis Basin over there would have first had to get through a number of different cannon defenses, and then at the very top of this fort there's another cannon. So yeah, very difficult to penetrate.
And of course, all the cannon facing towards the bay, okay? Always. They're all pointed out in that direction.
Yeah.
So they knew what they were doing.
Well, in true Sam and Audrey fashion, we have an 11 a.m. lunch scheduled.
11:20. Time for lunch.
Time for lunch. Today we made baguette sandwiches with some leftover chorizos from last night, and
Leftover
cheese,
chorizos.
and grapes,
And we got cookies.
and cookies. All right, so today is going to be a very historic day. We've got a bit of a theme going on. So we visited one fort in the morning. Now we've come over to Port Royal National Historic Site. And what we're going to see here is a recreation of the structures that were built back in 1605. Using the drawings that they found. This used to be a French settlement, and one interesting thing about this place is that it was the first site where the settlers were able to get through a whole winter and kind of like complete a whole year in one place, because before that had been a major struggle because of the extreme winters that they had here. And one of the reasons why they were able to make it through a year is that they had the help of the Mi'kmaq, who kind of like shared their knowledge and also became allies. So yeah, it's a really cool site. This is also considered like the cradle of Acadia. Really looking forward to it, and we can't wait to show you around.
What does this mean?
C.W. Jeffries.
Could we have found a relative of yours, Sam, perhaps?
It's possible. It is the E-R-Y spelling, but there's an S, and our last name doesn't have an S. Likely though, a derivative.
Maybe a long lost distant relative.
There you go.
Does he look like him?
He's got an impressive mustache.
Oh, let's see. Does it look like Sam?
Not that much. Maybe more like my Jorge, right? It looks a bit like Jorge. This is the sleeping quarters. Look, you got the
Sleeping
bunk, you got
quarters.
bunks, and you got maps.
Oh, wow. Would you have been cozy in here, Sam?
I've slept like this before. Kind of reminds me of when we were trekking in Sapa. Do you remember we had to go up and we were sleeping exactly like this? In fact.
Just mattresses on the ground.
I could sleep like this as long as I got a breeze. So we've been touring the fort for a while. Very impressive. The way they've preserved everything in here, it makes you feel like you're stepping back in time. And this so far is my favorite room. Beautiful fireplace. You look down here and you have a bear skin.
Better than the room that looked like a hostel dorm, right?
Oh yeah.
You'd want this one.
You can tell there's a hierarchy of comfort.
This looks like some fishing gear up top, no? Rope making.
I tell you what this is. There is a coffin here in this part. And I believe that in those days, if you die during the winter month, the earth is frozen solid, is harder than concrete. So there is no way they could dig a grave. So my thinking is that the corpses were kept here, refrigerated, because here there is no heating whatsoever, until the thaw of the spring when they could be buried, right?
Like Canadian mummification.
So just a 1-minute drive from Port Royal, you'll find the Melanson Settlement, which is the next place we are visiting. And this is going to be an Acadian style village where we can see how these families would have lived. So we're gonna go have a look around. Okay, so this is a bit different from what we imagined.
So coming here, you want to use your imagination and to look at the great information boards that they have about the history of this place, because it actually doesn't exist anymore. This would be the field where the village existed in the past, back in the 1600s.
Yeah, they have some diagrams at the entrance and images of what it would have looked like, but there is no actual village here.
Yeah.
Well, good morning from Digby,
Good morning.
you two.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Greetings from Digby, Nova Scotia. Well, A special day for this guy. Yeah, my dad turned 70 today on this road trip, so quite a milestone. Any thoughts on turning 70 today?
How the hell did I ever get here? How did I make it? All those mistakes I made along the way, and
Yeah.
I'm still 70.
Jeez,
can't
I had
believe it.
those same thoughts when I turned 30.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, beautiful day in Digby. Like, we got the nice sea breeze. It's just a little bit warm.
And this is our first time here. Doesn't feel as touristy as some of the other places we've been to. There's a considerable port. Plan here is just to kind of walk around the boardwalk. So tell us, what is Digby famous for?
Digby is famous for scallops. See all those boats out there?
Yeah.
They're probably 90% of them are scallop boats.
The town nickname is, it is the scallop capital
of the world.
What do you think of the place so far?
It's nice. What's impressive here is the size of the tides. We're in an area where I think it's considered the biggest tides around the world. And if you look at the back over there, the dock, now it's low tide. And the distance to where the mark shows high tide, it must be a good 10 to 12 meters high.
Yeah.
So that's a monster tide, huh? You wonder, what does it come from and where does it go, you know? Okay, we know that we are very close to the Bay of Fundy. That one has the highest tide in the world, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
But this is like an inlet. But yeah, so far what we've seen is a nice,
It's impressive.
Yeah, it's a nice place.
Yeah.
Lunchtime is around the corner.
We've worked up a considerable appetite, moving those popsicle sticks around the boardwalk. So yeah, we're gonna have Maritime Classic. We are going for the seafood platter, which should be a mix of everything.
All right, so this is George's birthday meal.
Yep. What do we got, Dad?
Seafood platter
Seafood platter,
featuring
scallops, shrimp, fish, and clams.
And of course, French fries too.
Yeah.
And we've donated a piece of fish to yours. You got pure
You
scallops.
have mussels too.
We got mussels too.
Or probably mussels. Yeah.
Which was awesome.
This is great.
So good, greasy. I love it.
Point Prim Lighthouse.
Point Prim Lighthouse.
So we have arrived at our next stop, which is Point Prim Lighthouse. We have a beautiful little lighthouse over here looking out over the bay, and one of the cool things about the Bay of Fundy is that you can actually do whale watching. They have a lot of tours and excursions departing from here. We've noticed that there's a nice little bench overlooking the bay, and today the waters are super calm. So maybe if we linger a little bit and we have a bit of luck, we might be able to spot a whale or two.
And the lighthouse, okay, here there was a warning since 1804 for the mariners that were crossing the Bay of Fundy. This is like a point, okay? 1804, they only had a bonfire, and they had somebody with a musket that would fire a shot when the ships were getting too close to shore. Don't forget that in this area there is a lot of fog. But in 1817, they built this kind of like a lighthouse. And then later on in the 1950s, I think they also incorporated a foghorn. Now we're gonna go take a look to see what we can see.
Let's look for whales.
The water looks beautiful, calm, there are no waves, inviting, and yeah, let's go take a look.
Let's take a look.
Let's try our luck. Okay, so it is time for another ferry crossing. We're crossing over from Digby Neck to Big Island, where we're gonna visit the town of Tiverton and also see the Balancing Rock.
Where are we off to?
We are off to the Balancing Rock.
Balancing Rock.
Apparently a 20-minute walk down this path, and then a whole bunch of steps to the viewing platform.
Yes, we just passed a lovely couple who gave us a heads up. It's about 20 minutes there, then something like 236 steps going down, and then you gotta do it all heading back. And they said it's a bit crowded. It is a summer day, peak time here. So they told us to take our time with the hike. Otherwise, we're going to be waiting to get on the decks once we get there.
All right, so we made it through the trek in the woods. We had no idea how long it would take to reach this attraction. Turns out a bit longer than we expected.
Than we thought.
Yeah.
And now the cherry on the cake is 251 steps going down and 251 coming up.
Well, we're going to burn off all that pasta and bread we've been eating, huh? These last
500
days.
steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
We made it to the balancing rock. We earned the views. And so this balancing rock is 200 million years in the making. Wow. It's incredible. And it's just naturally standing like that. I wonder how long it'll last, to be honest.
Yeah, you can see all the other ones that have already fallen.
All the other ones have tumbled, but we've still got that one up there.
But it's hard to believe that with the storms that they must be having here during the winter and the waves, that thing is still standing.
Yeah.
Because the wave probably crashed over it, no?
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It could be an attraction that does not exist in the near future. Who knows, right?
The town must be praying that doesn't fall, because this is the main attraction in this area. So.
Yeah, we got 6 extra steps apparently.
Yes, I counted 257.
Wow.
They said 251, but it's 257. And I'm telling you something, once you get up here, 6 more steps could be the difference between life and death.
Let's make it home in breathing.
Yeah, let's not make it home in a casket.
We got good wine and food to drink. Come on,
yeah.
You got a good reason to stay or stick around.
Come on, baby. Come on, survive. We got good wine and food today. Let's go. Okay.
So last stop of the day.
Last stop, a beach. We've made it to Sandy Cove Beach, a beach walk for George's birthday. He really enjoys strolling along the sand, you know, pretty relaxing
So
stop.
we counted 19 people and a dog here. That's it.
Yeah, I
Pretty
know.
much have it to ourselves.
Huge beach and not a lot of people, so
That's awesome.
good. So this is a beautiful day so far. Right now we are doing the Hemlocks and Hardwoods Trail, and just being out in nature again, the smell, that crisp fresh air. It feels like autumn even though it's the end of summer. It's just so nice to be outdoors again, doing something that we both really enjoy.
Hello. So this is our first lake viewing point on the trail that we're going on today. What's really interesting is that you can actually camp out on this trail and you can portage. So just to the right of us, we saw a campground, and it's got basically the most spectacular view. So anyone who wants to come and visit this national park and camp out and go canoeing and hiking, this is the place to do it for sure.
Mention the loons, okay? Here we are in Canada on a pretty isolated lake, and there's loons here. So you know you're in the wilderness in Canada when you hear the loon, and they have a very distinctive sound. As soon as we got close to the lake or within sight, they stop their call. So you know they can see you.
So apparently there was a bear that has just skedaddled off. I don't know, Sam and I missed it. Samuel, we missed it. We missed the bear. What the heck?
What the heck? It would have been our first one to see in
Nova
the Maritimes.
Scotia.
In the Maritimes.
So we just saw the oldest tree in what's considered the Acadian old growth forest here in the park. It's about 400 years old, and around it we have a few old fellows as well that are closer to 275. So yeah, this is a pretty cool part of the park, and yeah, we're just surrounded by these towering giants. And we nearly saw a bear. My dad and George, who were ahead on the trail, spotted a bear running across the trail. But Sam and I missed it. We were dilly-dallying with the cameras a little behind.
A beautiful carpet of moss.
Yes, this is the carpeted area just under the hemlocks. Just looks so beautiful, and it would be so soft to step on it. But
So spongy, but you have to stay on the boardwalk.
yes, I'm not going to veer from here. I think they've created this boardwalk in the old growth forest area to kind of keep people on path and to not be tampering with any of the conditions for the old growth.
Yeah, preserve
Totally makes
the
sense.
terrain.
Totally makes sense.
Look at this. Oh, so green, so green.
Just been to the place that is called the farm, and the amazing thing up there is a trek all the way up a hill in the middle of nowhere. Early 1800s, this gentleman built his farm up there. He cleared 8 acres of woodlands, and he raised his family. He built a house, a barn. He raised some animals. What's important about all of this is that when you look at this forest, how dense it is, how majestic, big, and intimidating. You wonder, how did they do it back in the day when you had to clear with an axe, and if you were lucky enough, you had a mule or an ox, okay? I look at this forest today, and if somebody tells me clear up 8 acres with the modern technology, like chainsaws and stuff like that, I will tell you, this is an impossible task. Huh? And these people, they had to do it back then. And the thing was that with whatever they produce, they had to survive the whole year. Let's not forget that we didn't have the supermarket or the general store where you could go to town and just get supplies. These people were kind of isolated. And I don't know, I think about it and I analyze it, and it must have been extremely, extremely hard to survive under those conditions.
Okay, we have made it to the ferry terminal.
Yeah.
Hello.
Well, all good things come to an end, right?
Ferry, ahoy!
Yeah,
And the ferry is pulling in. We can see it at the distance over there. And we're all lined up here to come on board. And I think we're going to have some nice shots from the top, the out deck.
We're anticipating about a 2-hour journey, I believe.
The weather is clear.
It's a beautiful day for sailing.
Beautiful.
I mean, there's a breeze, but a comfortable breeze. We're going to be taking the Fundy Rose, leaving Digby, and going to St. John, New Brunswick. So port to port.
So, okay, let's go get ready.
Let's do it.
Right on the tail. Right over here.
Very identical. Even as an escalator.